The perimeter signs say deadly force authorized. The base behind them didn't officially exist. Area 51 exists, but according to every official U.S. government record, for 60 years it didn't. More than half of all UFO sightings in the 1950s had one classified source. The government knew. They chose not to correct it. The alien story was more useful alive than dead. Why would the most powerful government on Earth let millions of its own people believe in alien spacecraft rather than say what was actually flying over Nevada? By the end of this, you'll know exactly what they were protecting and why the alien myth was never an accident. It was a decision. Here's what makes this stranger. In 1989, Bob Lazar went on Las Vegas television. He told reporter George Knapp he'd worked at a facility called S4, south of Area 51, built into a mountainside. He described 9 craft of non-human origin, and then he described the fuel, an element with atomic number 115. That element didn't appear on the periodic table. No published paper had theorized it. Scientists called him a fraud. Then, in 2003, a joint American-Russian team synthesized it. They named it Moscovium. The properties Lazar had described, the exact ones every expert called fabricated, matched almost exactly. Nobody has explained that. Nobody. And it gets more specific. Lazar didn't just name the element. He described its atomic weight, its half-life, its behavior under proton bombardment, and a gravity wave it produced under specific conditions. Technical details that physicists in 1989 said were invented. Then, piece by piece, the real science caught up. His numbers weren't a perfect match, but they were wrong in the exact direction of the synthesized element that came 14 years later. That is not a lucky guess. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part almost no one ever hears about. In 1955, a CIA officer flew a small plane low over a dry lakebed in southern Nevada. He was looking for a specific kind of place, remote, invisible from every road, far from any commercial flight path, a location where something could fly for years without anyone accidentally seeing it. He found it at Groom Lake, a flat expanse of ancient desert ringed by mountains on every side, 80 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The moment he stepped out, the decision was made. Construction started within months, and the United States began operating a base that officially did not exist. The aircraft they developed there flew at over 70,000 feet, twice the ceiling of any commercial airliner, twice the altitude of any known military plane at the time. The U-2 spy plane was built to photograph Soviet territory from heights no aircraft was believed to reach. It worked, and it worked quietly for exactly as long as the Soviets didn't know it existed. When test flights began over Nevada, commercial pilots saw something silver moving at impossible speed, catching sunlight that had already set at ground level. They radioed in what they thought they were seeing, UFOs, by the hundreds. The CIA tracked every single one of those reports. They had the flight logs. They knew exactly what civilian pilots were seeing, and they made a decision not to clarify, not to issue a quiet correction through the FAA. They made the specific, documented choice to let the UFO narrative run. Why? Because correcting a UFO report means answering follow-up questions. What was it? Where did it launch? Who's operating it? The alien explanation killed those questions instantly. A CIA document, declassified in 2013, confirmed it. Officials estimated more than half of all UFO sightings in the late 1950s and 1960s were classified U.S. aircraft. They knew. They said nothing. For decades. If you want to keep questioning everything, you know what to do. The base didn't appear on any U.S. government map for 60 years. You could look at a satellite image of Nevada and see runways, hangars, and facilities the size of a small city, an installation visible from space. Every federal agency would tell you there was nothing there. Freedom of information requests came back blank. Journalists were stonewalled. Defense attorneys who brought satellite images into court were told no, seat secrets, case dismissed. The facility was physically there. Anyone with a map could find it. The government looked directly at every request and said nothing exists at that location. Workers couldn't drive to the base. The roads didn't acknowledge it. Instead, employees flew in from a private terminal at Las Vegas McCarran Airport. No posted schedules, no airline name, no record in any public database. The aircraft were white and completely unmarked. The program operated under the name Janet. The running joke was that it stood for just another non-existent terminal. Those flights ran every weekday for decades. The passengers, engineers, physicists, technicians, couldn't discuss their destination, their work, or what they'd been exposed to on the job. That last part would matter later. Some of those workers came home sick, skin conditions that wouldn't heal, lung damage doctors couldn't explain because the workers legally couldn't say what they'd been in contact with. In 1994, 5 unnamed contractors and 2 widows filed suit against the Air Force. They alleged they were there when classified materials, resins, paints, solvents, burned in open pits, doused in jet fuel and set alight. Armed guards with M16s stood watch. Biochemists found toxic compounds in the workers' body fat, dioxin, industrial solvents, at levels that shouldn't have been there. The government invoked seat secrets privilege. The Supreme Court refused to hear the appeal. Several workers died. The government never disclosed what materials they had handled. In the 1970s, a new project started at Area 51, codename Have Blue. Lockheed's Skunk Works division was designing something that had never flown, an aircraft invisible to radar. The geometry was unlike anything in aviation, flat, angular, faceted panels that scattered radar waves instead of returning them. When test pilots flew it over Nevada, witnesses on the ground described a boomerang-shaped craft with no visible exhaust, moving in complete silence. The F-117 Nighthawk flew from Area 51 for over a decade before the government acknowledged it in 1988. For that entire decade, it was the most reported UFO shape in Nevada because it looked exactly like one. In May 1989, Bob Lazar sat down with reporter George Knapp at Las Vegas station KLAS. On camera, he described S4, a hangar complex built into a mountainside south of Area 51. 9 craft of non-human origin, a propulsion system that didn't push through space. It bent space around the vehicle and pulled the destination toward it. The government's response was immediate and specific. His employment records at Los Alamos National Laboratory disappeared from federal databases. His educational transcripts at Caltech and MIT gone from both registrars. No press release, no public debunking, just the removal of every document proving he had ever been near a government facility. That is not how you respond to someone who's simply wrong. Lazar said the craft ran on element 115. In 1989, that element didn't exist on the periodic table. No lab had synthesized it. He described its atomic weight, its decay rate, its behavior under proton bombardment, and a gravity wave it generated under specific conditions. Physicists said this was invented science. Then, in 2003, a joint American-Russian team synthesized it for the first time. They named it Moscovium. It's now on the periodic table as element 115. The properties he described in 1989 turned out closer to the real element than anyone who dismissed him ever publicly admitted. In 2013, the CIA formally acknowledged Area 51 for the first time. Declassified documents confirmed the base, confirmed the U-2 program, confirmed Janet flights, confirmed in writing that the UFO cover story was deliberate. They revealed absolutely nothing about S4. Every request about the facility south of Groom Lake came back the same. No records found. Researchers cross-referenced Lazar's physical description of S4 with Nevada topographic maps. They were looking for a mountain matching his account, hangar orientation, entrance direction, security layout. They found one, facing exactly the direction he described. Just a mountain, but precisely right. In 2019, a college student posted a joke Facebook event called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Within 72 hours, 2 million people signed up. The U.S. military issued a formal warning. The Air Force held a press conference. The FBI monitored social media. The base that hadn't officially existed for 60 years suddenly needed a public statement to defend. Think about what that means. The government that spent 6 decades saying nothing was in the Nevada desert found itself issuing formal warnings about a meme. Whatever was or is at that location, someone decided it required that response. Then, in July 2023, former Air Force intelligence officer David Grush appeared before Congress, under oath. Officials with direct knowledge had informed him, through proper channels, of a multi-decade program to retrieve and reverse engineer non-human craft. He said he was denied access to programs he had legal authority to access. He described retaliation for using official whistleblower channels. The Department of Defense's response to his sworn testimony was not that he was lying, it was that they were not aware of the programs he described. Not aware. That is not a denial. Here's the pattern. Every time something about Area 51 is released, it confirms exactly what the government was already prepared to admit. The U-2 program, the stealth development, the deliberate UFO story. All of it fits a clean narrative. We were testing planes. And every time, the next layer stays sealed. The classification doesn't shrink, it migrates. Whatever those programs were covering, that thing remains classified. And the gap between what's been officially released and what Lazar described has barely moved in 35 years. Each new disclosure answers the old question and opens a different one. The answer always stops just short of the part that actually matters. Here's the detail researchers keep returning to. The government didn't refute Lazar. They erased him. Those are not the same response. If someone makes false claims about a classified program, the standard move is public dismissal. Release the employment record. Note the fabrications. End the story in 48 hours. It's cheap and effective. The government didn't do that. They deleted records from federal databases and removed transcripts from 2 university registrars. That requires coordination, resources, and a specific decision to erase rather than robot. You don't do that to someone who's simply wrong. You do that to someone whose story is close enough to be dangerous. Somewhere in the Nevada desert south of a base that didn't officially exist for 60 years, there is a mountain facing a specific direction. No public record of what's inside it. The government that admitted to a 6-decade lie chose that lie deliberately because it was safer than the alternative. The government that erased a man who described a non-existent element. The government that sat through sworn congressional testimony about recovering non-human craft and answered with 2 words, not aware. We still don't know what's in that mountain. The question was never whether something was being hidden at Area 51. The question is what they found so disturbing that even being called insane for 60 years was still the better answer.